going on, guys? Mr. Adkins Auto here. We got another video for you. This time it's on bleeding brakes and changing out the brake fluid. Anytime that you open up the system, you're going to have to go through the steps. So this would involve changing calipers, wheel cylinders, master cylinders, anything like that. So to get us started here, first thing we got to do is check our brake fluid level. And a little hard to see on this car, but down here is my master cylinder reservoir. And if I take my cap off, I can see that that is right at the top, right where it's supposed to be. So we are good to go to bleed our first brake here. All right, so I have my assistant in the car, and he is going to step on the pedal for me. So what we're going to do is, when he steps on the pedal, that's going to build up pressure. Then I'm going to crack open the bleeder screw, and that's going to let the fluid and any air bubbles go through. And we're going to keep repeating that process. Now, Harbor Freight sells these little bottles. They're actually the vacuum bleeder bottles. For vacuum bleeders, they're kind of terrible, but for actually doing the just catching the brake fluid, they work pretty well when you're doing this force bleed method. So put the wrench on first. Make sure you're using the boxed end of the wrench, 6 points, so that you don't strip out these bleeders. Take the tube, and you're going to snap that over the top of the bleeder valve. Just like that. Make sure this opens. So go ahead and step on the pedal. So while he's stepping on the pedal to build pressure in the system, I'm going to open the bleeder valve, and you will probably see some air bubbles and some fluid shoot through here. Now this fluid is really clear. You can see a little bubble right there. This fluid's really clear, so it's kind of hard to see much. But if we look down here, you might be able to see a little bit. Now typically brake fluid's going to be really black. It'll be real obvious as you're doing this that the fluid shoots through the line. So I'm going to tell him to let up. And every time that he lets up, it's going to draw in new fluid from the master cylinder reservoir. And go ahead and step again. So he's stepping on the brake pedal. I'm going to open and then gently close. Just 2 fingers to gently pull on the wrench is all you need to close this up. Go ahead and let up. And as you let up on the brake pedal, you're going to do it slowly to give the fluid time to kind of draw into the system from that reservoir. And step again. And let up. And we'll do it one more time. Step again. And let up. All right, if you're doing this by yourself, you could hook up an air compressor to the end of this bottle here, and that draws a little bit of a vacuum, pull some of the fluid through, but I find this force bleeding method works a whole lot better, especially when you've replaced a caliper or a hose or a brake line and you got a lot of air in the system. It really forces it out a lot better. So we're going to go ahead and go on to our next wheel. Going to pull this off, hold it up, drain all the fluid into the bottle. There it goes. Alright, my little catch bottle is connected, and my wrench is set up with the boxed end on the bleeder valve. Go ahead and step on the brake pedal. Now that he is stepping on the brake pedal, let's build pressure. All right, we've moved to the second wheel here. The tube is on, my wrench is in place. Go ahead and step on the brake pedal. It's going to build pressure, and the fluid just shot through there, and close it. Go ahead and let up. We want to make sure we close the bleeder valve before we let up on the brake pedal so that we don't draw any of this back into the system. Go ahead and step on the brake pedal. And let up. And step on the brake pedal. And let up. And step on the brake pedal. And let up. All right. If you look at the bottle here, you can see I've taken out a little bit of brake fluid. Before we were to go to any other wheels, we want to check our master cylinder reservoir to make sure we actually have brake fluid left in it. So we're going to jump over here. All right, a little hard to see this one, but the brake fluid is actually pretty low now. So we're going to use a funnel because brake fluid will take paint off of cars. And we're going to very carefully pour this in. All right, now you can see brake fluid is right there at the top. Roll this over here a little. There we go. And also a good time to note that brake fluid does come in several different types. This particular Acura calls for .3 brake fluid. If we look at the bottle, we have .3 brake fluid. Some of the newer cars or higher performance stuff is calling for .4, and some are even .5, so make sure you're pouring in the right stuff for it. All right, so that is the process of bleeding brakes on a car. I only did 2 of the wheels, but to do the rest is the exact same thing. Just make sure you're checking the brake fluid level and don't run the system dry. If you do run it dry, it's a whole lot of work to get the ABS system cleared out and get all the air out of all the lines and all that. So, all right, guys, talk to you later. Go ahead and let up.